She did grab my hand.
So we have this great saying, and the saying goes, we must live in truth. One of the things that I want to accomplish with these short form videos is a deeper dive into the American history of our ancestors that the Ellis Island narrative paints invisible. The education establishment controls the narrative, except for individual scholarship and reasoning, and any history PhD candidate would have to be out of his mind to produce a thesis that would destroy his career and any chance for a tenured position. The university professoriate hates my ancestors, hates their achievements, and hates the country they founded. Today I will touch on a very sensitive subject, especially today now that the university system has convinced their students that gender is anything you want it to be. As I said in my previous video, the early English settlers in America faced personal challenges that did not make it into the history books. People often died young. Childhood ended at sexual maturity when young men and women were separated and chaperoned, and marriage followed soon after. As a practical matter, society needed to ensconce young women in stable homes because the family was the only means of provision and support, and in a world without antibiotics, multiple sexual partners was often a death sentence. My colonial ancestors probably had an average of 10 children, with perhaps 6 or 7 surviving into adulthood, and family was the only social safety net these people knew or needed. Please remember that this is pre-industrial. There are no toilets, no hot showers or sanitary facilities. Heck, toilet paper and tissue paper hadn't been invented yet. Clean and chlorinated water was not available. The only water they had was what they could carry home in a bucket, and that water source would not be all that far off from their latrines and outhouses or their livestock's manure. Germ theory wasn't a thing yet. No wonder illness and death were their constant companions. But more to the point, as it concerns the oppression narrative, feminine hygiene products didn't exist. Women were often relieved to be pregnant, for while pregnant or breastfeeding, women didn't have to contend with menstruation. Imagine, if you will, what life was like for menstruating women in a world without bathrooms, hot and cold running water, and feminine hygiene products. If you want to know, there are lots of documentaries. You can find them online about what it is like for women living today in rural Africa and how challenging life is without running water and modern menstruation products. Our biology might be called oppressive, but the relations between the sexes have always been cooperative. That's how we overcame the challenges of biology in the first place. And for those stuck on the idea of oppression and patriarchy, even today, women, with rare exceptions, do not work in jobs where there isn't a clean and fully functioning bathroom nearby. Modern feminine products and indoor plumbing freed women to work outside the home. It's true, but not everywhere outside the home. Women still don't work on commercial fishing boats, on forestry crews, as utility linesmen, or even as bricklayers or coal miners. If the only sanitation facilities are a porta potty, women generally don't want to work there. And that's okay. But it demolishes the oppression narrative, doesn't it? And remember, we must live in truth, and we must not build walls around our bias or let it deceive us. that is almost impossible when you spend most of your waking hours consuming media created to instill and affirm that bias. Modern women were not freed by shrill political activists marching around with signs. Modern women were freed by technology in the form of flush toilets, hot and cold running water, and feminine hygiene products. And all of these products were invented and developed by men to help make women's lives easier. How's that for cooperation? And for the settlers who survived the initial challenges, well, much work awaited them. They needed real homes, not dirt floor shacks. They needed barns, fencing, ferries, landings, and sometimes small bridges that cross rivers. They must bend their beasts of burden, oxen and horses, to their will, and then fabricate and maintain the yokes and harnesses required to use animal power. They would construct water wheels and sluices to power mills for grinding grain, and dig retention ponds to power the mills. And when their many offspring married and took on adult responsibilities, their adult children would need homes and barns and fencing too, as the cycle took off all over again. My ancestors were too busy working and caring for children and elderly, while engaging in the day-to-day mystery of existence and the celebration of the miracle of newborns and the grief of burying their dead, to participate in a sexist gender war. I can't imagine what they would think of the idle and childless neurotics populating our college campuses today, financed by borrowed money or family money while casting their indoctrinated judgments long before they've made the slightest contribution to society. Those shrieking dullards in the clip at the beginning of this video, that's not counterculture. That's mental illness. If you'd like to see genuine, let your life so preach, living in truth counterculture, come visit my friends and neighbors here in Shady Grove. The experience will blow you away. I'd like to end this video with a quote from Saint Athanasius of Alexandria. If the world is against the truth, then I am against the world. Thank you. I'm Greg Jeffers for the American Quaker Friends Church.